Okay, so here's how we do an MLA heading. So this is what your first page is going to look like. What we have is, in the upper left corner, you have your full name, your teacher's name, the name of the class, and then you're going to do the date, but you're going to do the date in that European way. The day, the month, and then the year. No skipping lines. The very next line is the title that you give your essay, and it needs to be centered. You do not make it bigger. You do not bold it. You don't skip lines at all before or after it. The very next line is the first line of your essay indented. And every paragraph after that is indented. So, this is what it needs to look like. So here's what we did in class. I gave everybody a bunch of unfinished, unpolished, non-MLA formatted essays. And what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and put them in MLA format. So there's many different ways to do it. I do it differently. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start, the author's name who wrote this essay is Aubriana Saxton. I was her teacher, so she's going to put Mr. Chavez. The class was English 2. And then we're going to put the date that it was written, the 22nd of September 2022. Okay, so now I want to highlight the whole thing, put it in 12-point font, Times New Roman. If you see here, these are not 1-inch margins. Do you see that? So I need to come up here to File, Page Setup, and I need to change all these margins to 1. Now I need to double space the whole thing. This right here is line and paragraph spacing. This. So I go ahead and I click on this and I hit double. That's it. MLA format. Now, there is something that you have to do with headers and footers. We're not going to get into that. I'll teach you that right before the summer. And hopefully you'll remember it when you actually get into your junior and senior. But for right now, we're going to do baby steps. I am not going to require that you put your name at the top and the page numbers. I'm just not going there. We'll do that later. But this is what an MLA formatted page is going to look like. Let me go ahead and do the second one, okay? So we've got this one here. And let me go ahead and bring this up. Okay, so same thing. I want to go and set up my page, change the margins. Now your margins should be 1 inch by default. The only reason that mine are different is because I go in and change my margins because I like 1/2-inch margins. And I doubt that any of y'all have really done that, but if you have, then this is how you change your margins back. Okay, so now we're back to 1-inch margins. The name of the person who wrote the paper is Tegan Rush. I am her teacher, or was her teacher. It was English 2. And it was the 22nd of September 2022. So now we're going to do the same thing. I'm going to highlight everything. I'm going to change it to 12-point font, Times New Roman, double spaced. Okay, that space should not be there, so we get rid of that. So there we go. That's how you do it. Okay, if you have any questions, you got to let me know, but this is what we're going to be doing in class. Okay, the other thing that I wanted to show you is in-text citations. Just like when you write something, whenever you're quoting somebody, something that somebody said, you have to give them credit for it. If you don't, that is called plagiarism, and that's going to get you a 0. And let me tell you something, if you're in an AP class, that's going to get you a lot worse. So, 3 different ways to cite your paragraphs. A sentence telling, a sentence telling us that somebody said something and then showing us exactly what they said and where it can be found. A sentence telling us what somebody said and then showing us exactly what was said and who said it and where it can be found. Who said something but expressed by the writer's own words, and then what page the paraphrased quote is found. So this goes to number 1, okay? Wordsworth stated that romantic poetry was marked by, open quotes, spontaneous overflow of powerful feelings, close quote, 263. Okay, so this is who said it, Wordsworth. This is the actual quote. And then this is the page number of the document or the book where they've pulled this quote from. And of course, that book is going to be in the Works Cited page, so it's easy to go back and check their work. Okay, here's number 2. A sentence telling us that somebody said something, then showing us exactly what was said and who said it and where it can be found. Romantic poetry is characterized, I'm reading here, romantic poetry is characterized by the, open quote, spontaneous overflow of powerful feelings. Now, do you notice I didn't put Wordsworth in here? So since I didn't put Wordsworth in here, I need to put him in the parentheses. Wordsworth, 263. So now everybody knows that it's the citation in the Works Cited page that is under the name Wordsworth, and it's from page 263 of whatever that document was. Okay, the last one. Who said something but expressed by the essay's writer's own words, and then what page the paraphrase quote is found. When you paraphrase somebody, you say what they said, but you don't exactly say it in the same words. You kind of put it in your own words. So, for instance, paraphrasing can be something like, do not what your country can do for you, ask what you can do for your country, which is a famous John F. Kennedy quote. Well, if I'm going to paraphrase that, I'm not going to say it the way that he said it. I'm going to say, we should really be worried about helping our country more than our country helping us. That's paraphrasing. So, Wordsworth extensively explored the role of emotion in the creative process. So what he did is he basically paraphrased what Wordsworth called a spontaneous overflow of powerful feelings. Wordsworth extensively explored the role of emotion in the creative process. And then he lets us know that, I took that from Wordsworth and I paraphrased it. I'm still going to give Wordsworth the credit. It can be found on page 263. The quote completely paraphrased by the essay writer, then what page it is found. So whenever we're writing our essays and we want to put a quote in there, that's how we're going to do it. You're going to choose one of those 3 ways. And everything is going to be able to be checked by the Works Cited page. Okay, so anyway, that's what we were working on today. If you have any questions, email me.